Hi, good morning, and welcome back to the Concord AI Solution Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. We have another very exciting guest today. For those of you who's just joining the podcast, we are Concord AI Solution, and we specialize in helping B2B SaaS partners scale their revenue revolutionary AI products. Today's guest is Terry Abrams. He is the CEO of Dynamic Excellence in Information. With decades of experience in digital transformation and workflow automation, Terry has helped organizations move from outdated, paper-heavy systems to streamlined, high-efficiency operations. He specializes in helping leaders eliminate costly inefficiencies and turn information management into competitive advantage. Thank you so much for jumping on today, Terry. How are you?
Really good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. All right, let's jump right in. Can you share a bit about your role as the CEO and how you think about your impact on the broader industry?
Well, I'm CEO of Dynamic Excellence, as you mentioned. We've been in business now for 31 years, and this is all we do are enterprise content management solutions and mostly document file data information management and business automation workflow from the information there within. Our industry has been changing and rapidly moving around, but it's still strong. Some of the players have reduced down because bad systems in our industry have gone out of business. And those who got a little too egotistical and raised their prices through the roof have priced them out of the market. And it's really hard for those guys to come down. They could probably flip a switch and save themselves, but they're also being edged out of the system. So it used to be a good 25 good systems to compete with in our industry is probably whittled down to 10. Could even be less in the next year or so. And so we offer 3 platforms to our customers to make sure we have the right fit for everyone. We turn nobody away, whether it's a small office or a huge multinational corporation. We have plenty of both in our portfolio. And the industry is changing because there's more what you can do with it. And a lot of the ERP systems out there are trying to imitate what we do and not doing well with it. So it creates a delayed reaction need from the customer, which is not fair to the customer, but that happens. So the industry is evolving quite quickly. The attraction to the market has changed from the customer side, and but once they actually get to see it, their eyes wide open, and then we have eager customers ready to buy.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, so for a general audience, what does information excellence mean to you in practical terms?
Capturing the data accurately, archiving and protecting it well, providing the security on that data to those who need it and in what format and with what editability, and then actually using that information in the best form of automation for cost cutting and process improvement that you can do. So many of our competitors talk this language. They don't really know how to carry it off, or they have a very limited scope of what their own minds it should be, where the customer is out there with a whole new universe of what they're thinking it should be. So the excellence part for us is really, as you'll hear the old contrite rhetoric go, we really listen to our customers. We get in there, and any vendor like us should always do is point out maybe some better ideas and then fall back on what the customer needs most. So the customer is going to get the final decision in all cases, but we'll always show them, hey, we might know a better way to do this. Take a look at this first. Let's delay by a week. Make sure you're getting the very best of what you want. And then let's push forward with whatever it is you want after you review all these different specifications. So it's always finding the right process, because some customers have become store blind. They're big, they're bureaucratized. They just want the easiest solution. Just make this faster for me and then get out of here. I got to go back to work. And we understand that feeling very well, but there's usually a dire need that there's some other ways we can optimize this, do the same thing they want that takes lower overhead digitally and electronically, costs less, and is more of a faster move to market delivery system with whatever they want us to automate, whether it's on a factory floor, a sales or accounting process, a HR onboarding. There's always something that can be improved some. So we'll show them all the options. And because our systems are malleable, they can change and update their processes anytime without incurring huge, significant professional service costs. They're going to be safe either way, but we try to deliver as much as possible right at the point of first implementation, and rather not have to constantly go back and update it because they finally figured out something that would make it better.
Yeah, that sounds phenomenal. So what does a strong information strategy unlock for organizations that actually get it right?
Well, information, you're going to hear on the EIP side of the industry, you're going to hear you're creating your own data, you're bringing some in, we're going to take care of it for you and make it work. And they usually have rigid structures because they have a module for accounting, a module maybe for operations, maybe inventory, maybe logistics, different ERPs covering different things, but they never handle what we handle well, which is is all the different document files out there, all the different data streams, all the different record collections we can access and put to work for them. And our systems, a good capture system alone, which is component number one of our systems, around 3 million lines of code. And the good document management and workflow systems can go from 5 to 10 million lines of code with special talent features and software engines to make everything work better. So we can plug into anybody's process, accounting, or ERP system and extend the power of it. Most of those people don't like to have to integrate with us because they want to get every penny out of the customer they can. So they'll promise the customer, over the next 5 years, we'll have that built in, just wait for us. Well, it usually takes them 10 years, and then they don't get it right on the first couple of rounds. So it could be 15 or 20 years before they can do what we can do. So that's the tough thing, getting through the customer's head and proving to them, which we can in free system demonstrations. But to answer your question directly, we will protect the data, extend it. We can make it work and do somersaults for them. We even provide our own APIs for free. So if they want to go into their own custom software and make our software do somersaults for them, they can do that. So we have bidirectional communication and functionality for all our customers' current legacy applications, as well as our own. And we can tie everything into one seamless operation to make it look very homogeneous, and no one's having to learn multiple software programs to be an expert with expertise in their own company or enterprise.
Yeah, time is of essence, like to your point, like if you can either get it right the first time or you can not get it right, right? And waste a lot of important time and information there. So thank you for sharing that. What major shifts are you seeing right now in this information management space?
Well, of course, there's introduction of new AI tools. We're very fortunate that one of our platform owns its own giant AI. It's one of the first 3 in the world. It's out of Germany, and a lot of it's packaged up in our process software already. So they actually get it on installation without having to pay an extra AI transaction fee for every time they go out to query document or information on the web. This will actually process different parts of information for no extra charge at all. And then we also have the ability to branch out with bigger AI ventures that they might have to pay a transaction fee for. But with us, it's not an automatic $1 to $10 per transaction of a large language model with AI. We can use AI in automatic workflow processing, document processing, and data extraction, even the decisions of what type of retention period to put on this information, how long they need to keep it in their archives. AI is there. There's also a new push in our industry, which I think as of 2 days ago, I'm allowed to talk about. I was just put on the board. It's a national organization of some of the oldest and most skilled firmware and driver manufacturers for document management, enterprise workflow automation. And they solely focus on driver development for all the different devices going on. Well, they identified a new market that they saw coming. I kind of thought about over and over because it was something I wanted to get into as a company, just entrepreneurial spirit. But it turns out all the new manufacturing robotics that you've probably seen in flash videos and clickbait ads and what have you, where a million automated robots are putting together cars, or you see the little Honda robot dancing across a gym floor in front of a press crowd taking, oh, wow, it looks so human. Well, there's so many different new robotics manufacturers coming out. How are they going to automatically know when to order replacement parts, service? Are they just going to make projections of what they think the wear is? Or are they going to use the data coming off that robot? Well, it turns out all these robots are being designed to generate their own safety, maintenance, and longevity data. And if you wait for, say, someone like an SAP or an IBM to create a new application to grab this data and bring it forth, it's going to be very expensive on any company, large or small. And it'll take them years to get it really right and flowing because their history has just not been, it's great from day one. It's usually, we came out with a new product, 10 years later, we might have a handle on it. Whereas we, at our group, they're going to incorporate the drivers. So we get all that information from the robot directly into our systems automatically. And as soon as any pattern or flag data we're looking for comes up, it will tell us to fill this data in one of our electronic forms and start routing it to people for decision making. So one of these robots tells us, I need these 2 new parts and I need a lubrication servicing, sometime in the next 15 days. That data will be caught up in our system automatically from its own database, brought over by our driver directly into our system, populate an electronic form like you'd fill out online, and route it to different people to either put in the order or have us go to their accounting system and reorder automatically for them. So the robots can now they'll be able to actually report to our data system metrics, performance levels, repair and service needs, and they won't have to pay this huge proprietary price. To do it through a driver and into our system, they'll just need one of our basic systems, and instead of paying, the cost will be at least 3 decimal points less on the annual or even monthly, daily totals of these invoices. to get this service done and to have this information readily available in a non-proprietary format. It'll be open data source, and no matter who the robotics manufacturer is, they'll be able to plug into it and maintain their fleet of robotics just that much easier.
That is phenomenal. That just sounds like something far-fetched from where we are today, but listening to you describe it, it seems
It
amazing.
was a bit of an honor when they called to put me on their board because they knew me because I'm one of the ancient tigers in the industry. I don't want to date myself too much, but we've been in it since it about began in the late 90s, early 90s.
Well, congratulations.
They know we've gone through all the battles of bad software, good and bad suppliers, which have been a hindrance in this industry. But now they're taking a quantum leap, thinking very smart about let's go get this market. It is sitting there. No one's done anything about it yet. And they're already meeting with robotics manufacturers to start carrying this out. They've already done it with our usual hardware proprietors like document scanners, printer arrays, and stuff that were normally connected to our systems already. Now we're going to go and get the industrial hardware data because even just some of these, not really robotics, but two-step type of heavy industrial processing machines now has data to report, and we can go grab that as well.
Exactly, like using data to make smart decisions, right? It's not just data, you gotta do something about it. So yeah, I think that's the whole futuristic approach, and I'm really glad that you're gonna be part of it. So congrats on that.
Yeah, typically it was the case where, you had technicians going out in a refinery and taking all the measurements off of their refinery storage and pressurized and chemical distribution machines. And from those manual readings, we grab that data and then execute decisions on it automatically. Now we can take it directly from the machine. And
Exactly.
so the wireless signals across a refinery are no longer risky, and we can plug in directly on a wired or other types of connection. It's going to be fun.
And less room for human error, right? Because that's always an issue. So
Or in the case of refinery handwriting, less chicken scrawl to try and decipher. Yes.
exactly. Now with everything changing in AI, do you think, the leaders in the industry, how are they really thinking about data foundation? Do you think they're there?
As a foundation, not really. There's so many players jumping in and so many, 2 to 5 person development houses saying, let's do an AI product and try and go strike it rich. And there's a lot of redundancy on what everyone's trying to develop. And they're not even telling the customer there's right now 2 very different types of, maybe actually a third, but there's 2 or 3 different types of AI. And most everybody is out in the market of predictive AI models, meaning if you ask it a question and it doesn't know the answer, it's going to combine what it does have for information and make a suggestion. And so many times that suggestion is wrong, so you get bad data into your system. The one we have built in our systems is what they call a discriminative AI model, or the second type of AI model. Discriminative AI models let you set the standards of what the information is, and if it can't come up with the answer, it'll route it to someone to go get the answer because it doesn't want to make a prediction that gives you bad data. So you keep your large language models clean. You keep your data strict to what you know is measurable, tangible, and correct. And so we like the descriptive model much better. It's not going to make any AI can make a mistake, but this is almost virtually down to 99.99% correct all the time because we don't let variables into the data that are unknown. And the third type is they're trying to do like what Grok is pushing for now, having both available and then voting on what's going to be the best answer. If you're going to do research and take suggestions for where maybe your research is hitting end and AI comes up with a new suggestion, you'll use what they call this omni decision-making model, where it'll take both predictive and discriminative and let them fight over what the true next step should be. And that's going to be great for research and projections and stuff like that. But for keeping precise automation standards accurate all the time, you need to hone in on the descriptive models. 3 types of AI are out there. I've yet to heard an AI salesman tell us once which one they're using. Well, and sometimes they don't want to reveal it because they want to boast it as their AI, but they'll tell you down the road which large language model they're plugging into as an AI partner. Is it Microsoft Azure? Is it Grok? Is it something else? Is it OpenAI, which I'm a little worried about right now?
As we are all. Yes.
Yeah. It's the AI type. I don't think there's a true foundation yet. I think there's a true industry and presence that you can't deny. It's going everywhere. The data centers are being pushed up probably too much too fast at the taxpayer expense before they can really tell you what it's going to be used for. But there's not quite a foundation yet because all the information required for the best decisions for AI purchases and involvement have not come public to the customer yet. I'm sure some military and large industrials can pay to get it, but it's not a foundation yet of hearing a reliable sales pitch every time.
Yeah. And it's sometimes like information overload, right? Because everybody's using the buzzword AI right now.
Hmm.
Like you can just imagine how confusing and difficult it could be right? For someone who doesn't understand how that all works. So, yeah, absolutely. Looking at current state and opportunities, what do you think organizations are doing really well right now? And where are you seeing the biggest opportunity for improvement?
They finally got to the point after 30 years in our business, and it probably started happening at about the 28-year mark, where everyone's gotten into some paperless office automation. They're getting rid of the paper, they're scanning documents, they're importing files from email, they're grabbing data streams, and most of them are not doing what we like to do a lot yet, and that's the automatic record capture, which is huge. People haven't even thought, but that's what actually unites large organizations to make all their systems work together as one big processing center, and it saves a lot of money. So what we're seeing is quite a move towards more of the electronic file management and how to best do it. I'll give you an example. Say SAP has an expense system called Concur. Not many people like it. We've been asked to replace it a lot. And doing an expense automation is very easy for even large corporate. And so we have a mobile application, of course, which will do what Concur did. It'll take pictures of a sales rep in the fields, all his receipts and meeting notes and everything like that. And he can get reimbursed the next morning on his company credit card after he's paid it out on his own. And Concur often misses the data and messes it up, and to go back and correct it takes longer than having typed it in manually from paper in the first place before he goes to bed each night in the hotel. So we're replacing that. And when we do that, we put in the upgrades, like our mobile app can grab it, make sure the data is correct. If it's wrong, it'll flag someone to take a look at it first before they commit it to an expense report and have a mistake. We're seeing a lot of electronic file management now where when that's on his phone or tablet, we can grab it immediately and process as soon as he hits upload. And literally, they can have him reimbursed by morning if he puts it in before 10 p.m. at night, say, instead of waiting a week to get something cut and back in his bank account, then go pay the bill himself. So we're tying in paying systems. We come across with our approach, customers are really moving towards seeing the total solution. What have you got here? We have a payment system we don't like. They charge us too high an interest rate. They take too long to pay us. So we have two payment partners we love that get the payment to them in 48 hours or less, and they'll guarantee that. That gives them a very low interest rate. That gives them options to operate and review their payments from any device anywhere in the world instantly. So payment systems have gotten better. We have the largest list of certified integrations, like with SAP or Microsoft Dynamics or Oracle and Intuit. We have those updated and certified every year. So we're always on the latest. We always have their approval to connect to their systems. And when customers are looking now for the fully integrated package, they don't want to take time to let developers figure it out, we're still competing with a lot of that. Someone's brother-in-law is still figuring out after 3 years, so they're going to give him one more year at some $100,000 a year clip of work. I'm like, gosh, for that money, you could have bought our system over twice now. So
Yeah.
companies are getting better about vetting the candidates. They're getting better about electronic data management. I was going to SAP because SAP does not have a great workflow automation. They usually customize it from what they hear the customer need, and that takes years. Usually it's a 3-year contract to get it done, sometimes longer. We can actually put our database listener on the SAP database. So when that record is created, it automatically populates a new form in our system and starts the workflow automatically. So within 2 weeks, that customer could be up and running with the workflow they need, not wait it to be hard-coded into their own software. Our system is a point and click. And so when customers see that we can actually listen to the other systems and start the workflow as soon as that data is created, they're like, oh, wow, you can just plug in and do that. And I said, yes, you don't have to start from scratch with custom development. The customers are moving more to that. When they find out that's available, the trend is, okay, you've got great electronic data interchange, or what was originally called EDI. Well, EDI also led to these custom development projects. Yeah, we got to write the integration and build this into a product for you so we can put it on your server. And you're paying professional services till you get the payoff fee of the development work. That's not the way to do good business or software. So customers are getting smarter. We still find a lot of those brother-in-law deals we're waiting on and waiting on and waiting on. But they are actually learning how to vet the systems now. And I think the days of excessive billing, which I think you and I off camera have talked about one of the deals we had where, someone was getting billed $80 million Canadian and we could have done it for one. It's just that kind of craziness. I think that's going to start disappearing, especially now that investigative reporting is actually showing up where customers are doing that. So yeah, the customer's getting smarter. The vetting has gotten better. And I think AI is a big part of that because now anybody can reach out and start getting good information, but they can also get a lot of bad information. It's going to be a tough responsibility on people like me and my team to make sure they're not too affected by the bad information. And when we present this to them, they don't think we're just pointing the finger at the other guy and saying, no, that's not right. We have to show, okay, how did you come to this decision? And we have to literally pull up their AI and show them some examples of where a mistake can be made. And so we're actually categorizing mistakes AIs commonly make. The customer knows it's not just a sales pitch to get them onto our product and off of somebody else's.
No, absolutely. And data is powerful, right? But if it's used in the right format, because like to your point, there's a lot of bad data out there as well.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
if if you're as a consumer, if you're really looking at the incorrect data, you are going to make some really bad decisions. So I think that's where the focus needs to be, is listening to the experts, really taking their advice, doing your due diligence, obviously, to check, cross reference to make sure everything is you're being told it is accurate, and then making those decisions. So that's
Yeah,
pretty.
and we've had for at least the last 5 years now, there are paid companies to furnish misinformation even on anything that involves a large procurement. As you know, fake reviews online. Well, just as a company exercise, a couple of my employees and I all noticed fake political posts and social media posts coming up on Facebook, where it seems to happen the most. They seem to have the less detection and action to do anything about it. And they are slamming political candidates or on air influencers that they don't like and have agendas to work against. And we started looking at this like, wow, people really hate my favorite so and so. What's all this about? We started looking at profiles, and the profiles are obviously fake. The last time that person was allegedly on Facebook was 6 years ago. Before that, they never had a political or antagonistic post. It was just pictures of kids and meals. And we found on this big thread condemning somebody online, if there were 50 responses, 35 of them were fake profiles. We could prove it. And finally, one of the fake profile threads, and this is why we're worried about it happening with large procurement and software in our industry, they actually left a URL up on one of their ads, which matched the IP address we were finding at the source of the Facebook post, because we had some geo-tracing software and we could follow it. And it was all originating back on a server farm somewhere on the British controlled coast of either Malaysia or India. It then routed to Toronto. Then it went to Cloudflare in San Francisco, where it was uploaded to Facebook en masse. And we're finding hundreds of these posts, if not thousands per day on Facebook, either slamming somebody, causing all sorts of political unrest in the same party. It looks like there's a purpose behind it, and it's
Of
obviously
course.
being outsourced, but that you're going to be able to hire companies to just push massive amounts of lying. It's the same way people get the wrong impression just by flipping through the old network channels and getting the same not so accurate news report, trying to influence them one way or the other. So now we're trying to get a step ahead of that. We're seeing what they're doing. We're actually learning from the worst creeps in the world about what not to let happen. We're trying to, so I know Grok already has the technology to filter that out and prevent a lot of disingenuous, not genuine posts being uploaded. I mean, freedom of speech is one thing, but they should have the right to be able to cut posts that aren't being written by the people they claim to be and just hit them off at the first part. So our next option is we're going to reach out to Elon Musk and Grok's content control team and show them what we're talking about. We think they're aware of it because we see far less of it on X. It's all over Facebook and it's getting worse, and on Instagram, which they also own and control. And we also, even TikTok, which people were most worried about, there's less of it there than there is on Facebook. So
Yeah. Yeah.
monitoring the fake information is going to be important for anybody selling and dealing with it like us. So the industry needs to get up on the communication, get up on the safety, and be prepared for the new customer vetting that's coming out, because they're getting smarter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then even like into the AI space, right? Like responsible AI is pretty huge right now, right? And
Mhm.
this is exactly the reason, because of all that false information behind it. We just got to make sure that whatever we're automating with AI, like, we're looking at all of these, propagandas and fake information that's out there and kind of catching it in the front end. So yeah, no, I'm glad that your company is taking the lead on that. So good job. Now looking ahead, right? 6 to 12 months, where do you think leaders should focus their attention?
Leaders in our industry or
In your
leaders in,
industry particularly, yes?
um, I think they need to focus their attention on market positioning and consumer awareness. It used to be that all consumers knew they needed to go paperless and automate that because it was costing them too much money and time. And now, with a lot of information creating and originating digitally, and we don't need to capture that. I still have some people I know that are printing this up to get it scanned. I'm like, no, 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 we can grab it electronically. You don't need to print and scan it. So I think you're going to find our business leaders are going to, like one of our platforms, they used to sell separate scan licenses. And it would be, you might have 100 people using the system, but only 4 people are scanning all the documents for that company in. One of our platforms put the full AI scanning ability and automatic data processing right into every client license we sell. It's a little bit more expensive, but not proportionally much. And now, no matter where we deploy, it's just that much faster to get going. We don't have to worry about ordering extra scan licenses and hooking up a new scan system later to a station that's been running our system, for 2 years. Looking at optimization and interface, there's been some new ergonomics with AI and the way you can display information. So there's less different screens of an interface to change over and work with. And 2 of our platforms now, everything's in one interface. So they don't have to worry about the screen changing in front of them. They'll have just subtiles and different types of tabs pop up automatically and bring them directly to what they need to see without adjustment. Our workflow processing is also, we have a discriminative but predictive model. So if someone doesn't know where that next document should go based on maybe a really strange credit limit issue they might have with one of their vendors, the system will figure it out and automate it for them, even though if it's not one of their tight business rules, which are hard coded. So in our industry, it's keeping the workflow advancing, the electronic forms, because if anything's going to change, it'll be an internet format. Really making it global. 2 of our systems are global and one semi-global, and meaning they support multiple languages right out of the box. And so you can be operating that same system in the US and you're working in US English. You can have it over in France and it's already displaying the same exact documents and data, but in a French interface. And that's literally a flip of a configuration switch with us. That used to be a terrible problem. You used to have to, get Microsoft's version of Farsi to put a system in Egypt and pray that interface still worked. And we did have that happen once. It worked well. And the other times, really go to the developers, say, okay, retool this. So it's global support, safe redundancy, and really positioning the messaging to the consumers because they've lost track of the sight of all our systems can do for them. And the market response has been changed just down to find me a narrow solution. I want to automate all my AP invoices. Okay, we do that. We probably do it for cheaper than anybody else. But it's hard for us not to say, oh, by the way, this takes care of all your other departments for not a penny more in cost, unless you need to buy a few more user licenses. That's it. A lot of our competitors will charge them the same price again for something that's already built in their system free to add another department to it. But the customer doesn't know it, so they're signing over another 5 or 6 figure check. These are the kind of things we're looking at: improved messaging, improved expansibility of the workflow and process automation. And now, after with the robotics and probably some other stuff that group is looking at, we'll probably be looking to expand the automation into other things where we can connect, at a geometrically sliced up price of what other people are charging for the same type of industrial automation.
Well, this sounds like an incredible journey so far, Terry. Thank you so much for taking us through it. Now, hypothetically, if you had a magic wand to fix one thing in the business right now that's either holding you back or slowing you down from getting there, what would that one thing be?
I would wish for a global awareness of what our systems do. It's kind of been lost somewhere. And personally, even I'm at a failure as to see where these suppliers of ours that have been in business for years let the industry slip into a place of not being the perfect middleware in everybody's mind. So a lot of companies have good products doing certain automations and doing certain back office tasks, but they don't do it all. The market has basically forgotten is that we fill all the gaps. Where they don't have something working, we can put that in and that we can plug into just about everything. So somewhere over the last 7 to 8 years, maybe even a little bit less than that, people, when they started looking to go paperless and automated or just automated in general, they forgot they didn't have to listen to their own ERP dealer, who usually, like I said, drags it off and marks up the cost. There's usually a better solution just waiting for them if they look, and they forgot to look. I think somebody was successful at burying the idea of document and file management into something that everybody else has built in now. That's just not true. So if I had the one wish, I'd cast a spell that everybody instantly became aware of what the ECM platforms are doing because they still do it better than anybody else.
That's excellent. Any parting thoughts for our listeners?
With technology, the one secret I've always seen is when it comes to software and professional services, this is how we first got popular in the Houston, Texas area. A reporter who came in to see what we were up to said he described us as the Wizard of Oz scene where Dorothy and the Scarecrow and her whole team confront the wizard in his chamber. And the curtain flies away from him using the microphone and the magical props and back to make himself look like a mighty and powerful wizard. He described us as like that. You pull back the wizard's curtain. I said, what do you mean? He said, you're showing them for how low a price they can do this for and how it actually works. And I think that's why we discussed 3 deals. We got away from larger competitors. I think that's why you won those deals. And I said, well, of course it's why I won the deals, but I never thought about putting that into a marketing scheme. We pulled the curtain back on the wizard. So I think that's where it needs to go. We're going to stick to we can actually contract for the lowest total cost of ownership
Sure.
and the highest ROI, and we can guarantee that to the customer. So once we get to that point, they usually just sign the dotted line. They said, "Wow, you're putting this into writing. We can get our money back if you're full of it." And I said, "Yeah." So that's where it's going. Cost comparisons, better system demonstrations, and like we were just talking about, getting the message out there accurately. We need to get the manufacturers in line with what's helping the channel partners in the field do.
Thank you so much for sharing that insight. Audience, I hope that you took away some really great insights from Terry. He's the expert in his industry. So, yeah, please make sure to reach out to him. Thank you once again, Terry. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for taking the time to speak to us today.
Thank you for having us.